Dear students, in this video, first of all, I am going to discuss about economic and non-economic activity. See, most of us perform various activities during a day, but all these activities are not the subject matter of economics because economics studies only economic activities. So, it is very much important to understand the meaning of economic activities. Now, let's have a look at meaning of economic activity. Activity performed with the purpose of getting economic benefits in the form of incomes. Okay, so we may say that economic activity means any activity which is mainly performed in order to earn some income, in order to get some economic benefits, and this benefits is in form of any income involving exchange of goods, services and or factors. Okay, so while in order to get this income, we are supposed to involve in any kind of transaction wherein we are supposed to buy or sell goods, services or maybe even factors. Say for example, when a trader sells goods and in exchange of selling that goods, he is getting money. Similarly, when a teacher teaches at school and in return of that he receives salary. So here this income is received when any goods or services or maybe even factors of production are exchanged. As well as involving costs is called economic activity. So here there is also an involvement of cost, and this cost is to be borne by both the parties. When a trader sells a goods, so when a person who buys those goods from that trader, so a person needs to pay money for that. So first of all, that goods, the cost of that goods is incurred by that person who is buying that good, and similarly the trader who is selling that good, even that trader has incurred certain cost in order to buy those goods or maybe in order to manufacture or produce those goods. So thus we may say that it is an activity which pertains to purpose of making economic gains in order to satisfy some wants, and again it involves exchange as well as cost. Certain examples of economic activity have been stated over here, like eating in a restaurant, watching a movie in a theater, get employed in a school to teach, etc. Thus, we may say activity for fulfillment of a requirement through a transaction which involves costs and benefits on both sides is called an economic activity. So, economic activity is done in order to fulfill any requirement, and in order to fulfill this requirement, we involve in any kind of transaction, and in this transaction there is cost as well as benefits on both the sides of the transaction. Say for example, if a person wants to buy a motorcycle so that he may travel from one place to another, okay, so here in order to fulfill his requirement of traveling, a person needs to buy motorcycle, therefore he has to involve in a transaction wherein he pays money for buying that motorcycle and thus he gets a motorcycle. So it also involves cost. First of all, person has to pay for that motorcycle, so that would be a cost on the buyer's side. Moreover, the person who is selling that motorcycle, even he would have incurred a cost in order to buy or in order to make that motorcycle. So definitely there is a cost on both the sides and for both the parties. Similarly, it is also involving benefits on both the parties, on both the sides. The person who has bought that motorcycle, so he has bought it for fulfilling his requirement of traveling from one place to another, so definitely it would benefit him. Moreover, the person who has sold that motorcycle, even he would have been profited by selling that motorcycle. Therefore, we may say that it is a kind of transaction wherein there is cost as well as benefit on both the sides and with both the parties. Now, meaning of non-economic activity: activity which is performed without the specific purpose of obtaining economic gains is called non-economic activity. So here, these are such activities which are performed without any specific purpose to obtain any economic gains. See, in economic activity, the main purpose was to get some economic benefits, but here these are performed without any purpose of getting economic gains or making any economic benefits, and such activities are known to be non-economic activities. It does not involve exchange of benefits on both sides of transaction. So first of all, these are such activities which does not involve exchange of benefits on both the sides of transaction. Like in economic activity, we have seen that the benefits were obtained by both the parties, but here in this non-economic activities, both the parties are not benefited. It is only on one part, or by it the benefits are received by only a single party. Say for example, if a person is involved in any kind of charitable activity, so the person who donates anything, so the person who is donating, he is not going to get any kind of benefit, and moreover the intention of that person who is donating is also not to obtain any kind of economic benefits, but definitely the person who is getting donation, he is definitely benefited. So here we may say that no doubt there is benefit, but these benefits are not for both the parties. These activities involves cost, but these costs are not incurred to get monetary or economic benefits in exchange. So just like as I have said that this transaction also involves certain cost, but again these costs are not incurred in order to get any benefit or in order to obtain any kind of economic gain. Taking the same example, when a person who donates anything, so the person who is donating, he is definitely incurring certain cost because he is donating something, but again this donation or this activity of charity is done without any intention of making any economic benefits. Certain examples now are given regarding non-economic activities, that is again charitable activity, activities which are done out of love, affection, compassion, etc. So any activities which are done without any purpose of getting economic benefit, like charitable activities there. Moreover, activities which are done out of love, affection, okay, say for example, when a mother, she cares for her child or nurses her child, so that is again a non-economic activity. Similarly, any activity which is done out of compassion, due to pityness, when a person helps some other person, so that is also a non-economic activity. Now talking about microeconomics. So first of all, what is this microeconomics? For the purpose of analysis, the entire study of economics is classified into microeconomics and macroeconomics. Okay, so for the purpose of making analysis, because in economics we are supposed to make analysis, we are supposed to study. So in order to make this analysis, the entire study of economics has been divided into two categories: macroeconomics and microeconomics. First of all, what is microeconomics? Let's have a look. See, micro means what? Small. And generally when we see this word micro, so in our understanding, micro means small or very small. So here also microeconomics is the study or analysis of individual units of the economy. So when we study about any individual unit in an economy, so such kind of study is said to be related to microeconomics. It uses the principle of marginalism to analyze how individual units make decisions. Okay, so this concept of microeconomics, it uses principle of marginalism. Marginalism is again related to a single unit or to an additional unit. So it uses this principle so as to analyze that how an individual, again because it is microeconomics, so it analyzes or it studies that how an individual makes any decisions. Similarly, subject of price determination of a product in a market, equilibrium output level for a firm, marginal productivity, and wage determination of labor as a factor of production are studied in microeconomics. So these are certain subject matters which are studied under microeconomics. Say for example, how to determine the price of a product, how to determine that what wages are to be paid to a labor, what should be the amount of production to be done in order to maintain equilibrium. So all these are subject matters which are concerned with microeconomics. Now next that comes, that is macroeconomics. Just like micro was related to a small unit or to an individual unit, so now macro, it means large or it means huge, it may be related to huge. Okay, so what does macroeconomic means? Macroeconomic studies issues which emerge from the entire economic setup and impact the entire economic setup. So macroeconomics basically, it studies about those issues which are related to or which are connected to the entire economy and which can have an impact on the entire economy. Determination of national income, unemployment, poverty, growth rate, and demographic profile of population are topics studied under macroeconomics. So see here, the determination of national income. Now see, national income pertains to the income of the entire country. Okay. Similarly, the growth rate of population, poverty, unemployment, these are those issues which are related to an entire economy, and definitely these are those issues which have an impact on an entire economy. Therefore these are subject matters which are studied under macroeconomics. Now macroeconomic analysis has helped to give principles for resource management to increase national income, reduce unemployment, poverty, inflation, and so on. Now these macroeconomic analysis, it has given certain principles for resource management. That means how to manage our resources in order to solve these problems. These problems in the sense, how to raise our national income, how to reduce the problems like unemployment, poverty, inflation, and so on. Now next one, that is presentation of information or data. Information can be presented in the following three ways. Now see, first of all, in economic analysis or in the study of economics, information is very much important. So how to represent this information? So it is said that there are three ways. First one, that is descriptive manner, second one by the way of data tables, and third one by the way of graphs, that is diagrams. Now first one, which is descriptive manner. So descriptive manner, it states that the description of relation between two variables in economics can be stated. Descriptive means what? Just by describing. Okay, so when we make any statement, okay, when we describe about something, that is said to be descriptive manner. Like here it is said that we can make a description regarding what is the relation between two variables in economics. Okay, say for example, the description of relation between price of a commodity and its demand is stated as, when price of a commodity falls, its demand expands, and vice versa. Okay, so just like we may say that there is a relation between price of a commodity and demand of a commodity. Now this is a principle, this is a law of demand. Okay, and in order to explain this law of demand by descriptive manner, one may simply describe that this law states that as price of a commodity falls, its demand expands, and vice versa. That means when price of a commodity rise, its demand contracts. Now this same thing, what we have described earlier, this same thing can be represented by way of data tables. It can be shown by presenting a data table showing a consumer's willingness to demand a commodity at different prices of the commodity. Okay, so that same concept of demand can be represented by way of this data table. Okay, as you can see, a data table has been made over here. Okay, in this table, in the first column, price of commodity in rupees has been given, and similarly in the next column, demand for that commodity made by individual, again in units, has been given. So if you observe this table, when price was 20, demand was also 20, but when price has fallen to 15, demand has raised to 40 units. Similarly, when price has further fallen to rupees 10, the demand has further raised to 60 units, and finally when price has fallen to rupees 5, demand has raised to 80 units. So again we may say that here the same concept is applied, that as the price falls, the demand is continuously rising or it is expanding. Thus, the table also represents the same fact, that as price of a commodity falls, its demand expands. So, what we have described earlier by words, that same information can be presented by means of a table, and this same concept can be made understood. Now, third one, that is by way of graphs or diagrams. Economics studies relationship between various economic parameters, and hence a cause effect relationship can be expressed by way of such diagrams or graphs. Okay, so even economics studies relationship between variables, as we have studied earlier also, and whenever there is a relationship between any two variables, so definitely there is a cause and effect relationship, and this relationship itself can be expressed by using these graphs or diagrams. Say for example, there is a cause and effect relationship between price of a commodity and demand of a commodity. Here the price is considered as the cause and demand is considered to be the effect. So we may say that as price is falling, so it is the cause, okay, and on the other hand the demand is expanding, so it is the effect. So whenever there is any such relationship between any two variables, there is a definitely cause and effect relationship between them, and this relationship can be easily expressed by means of using a diagram or a graph. So now as you can see here in this diagram, there is a cause and effect relationship which is price and demand. So the curve in diagram slopes downwards from left to right, showing that when price of the commodity falls, the demand for the commodity extends. Okay, so here as you may see that in this diagram there is a slope, okay, there is a curve which is sloping downward. It is sloping downward from left to right. Okay, so this downward sloping curve from left to right itself shows that as the price of a commodity falls, the demand for that commodity expands. So with this I end my today's topic. Thank you.